George, what's your last name, please?
Honor, Honor.
Oh, what an esteemed name.
You're on.
Thank you. May I have a motion to call the meeting to order at 9:35?
So moved.
Thank you. Mission statement. Would you like to read it, Sharon? Sure. Did you do it last time? I can't remember who did it when.
The mission of the Council on Aging is to advocate for Groveland's older adults, to identify their needs, to develop and implement services to meet their health, economic, social, and cultural needs, to encourage maximum independence, and to improve their quality of life.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Approval of the March 19th, 2025 meeting minutes. May I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So move.
And second? Okay, Deb, second. Is there any discussion, questions, comments on those minutes?
I have a clarifying question, since two hands were raised down there. Who
Oh,
do I
Which
accept?
one? did I- Pick one.
Okay, how about if I take one for approval and one for seconding?
Fine.
Okay, thank you.
All those in favor of accepting the minutes? Thank you. Let's get right into the director's report, please, Alyssa.
Excellent. Welcome. Good morning. Happy to just walk through my report unless there are any questions top of mind. Oh. So I started my report with just a little introduction on social prescribing. Wasn't sure if it was something familiar with to people or not, but thought I would share just a little bit about it. It's something that was really driven by the Mass Cultural Council in the past few years. But essentially, it's really acknowledging that social prescribing is something that we can integrate systematically through our healthcare systems as a way to get people intentionally involved in their communities. As we know, being socially isolated leads to everything from heart disease to dementia, depression, and just a whole host of issues. And so when we have our doctors tell us that this is something that we need because it is proven that being socially active betters our health, our physical health, and our mental health. It is great. So I put a lot of information in here, but as I said, we haven't seen too much of it being actively prescribed in our area, but it is fairly new and hoping for it to continue to grow and rise in conversation. I did say that about this time last year, we became part of the Art Pharmacy, which is growing to be a national organization. It's based down in Atlanta. I do think one of their first states was here in Massachusetts with the help of the Cultural Council, but now they're in about 5 states or so and hoping to grow more. And that's where we advertise our memory care cafe. So it's a really neat program. I put in a pretty hefty report from the MCC in there if anyone was interested in learning more about it. Also a really great resource to share with your friends as well. If there's not any questions on that, I can just move straight into the finance things. Nothing unusual to report. Everything pretty standard in regards to our the income that we received as well as expenses. We did hear from the Grant I Am Still Here Foundation that I had mentioned last time. That was a grant we put in for potentially piloting a dementia program with the library with their children's programming. They received, I think, over 70 applications. They only support like a handful, so we weren't selected for that. Did ask for feedback, haven't heard any yet. But there are certainly other opportunities to pursue funding. One of them is through a couple of local hospital grants that I've seen. So I'm going to certainly still keep trying. It's a great program and see what we can do to make happen. Any questions on the finance side of things? I will mention we found out after I had written the report, but the Haverhill Breakfast Exchange will be sponsoring our summer kickoff luncheon, so they are an ally supporter in that, so that will come in coming months. But I know a number of you are participating in their trivia, so I just wanted
That's
to
right.
put it out there.
We're the Groveland greats.
Oh, I love it. Nisha's assistant director report is here. She mentions that we have a regional, I'm not sure what the name of it is, but I have seen it on the Board of Health meetings, but we're part of a regional partnership, Groveland is, and one of that is with a Board of Health nurse. And so they were looking just to introduce themselves. I was out of the office that day, but certainly as Nisha progresses into the role of outreach, I'm more than capable to hold that meeting on her own, just to learn and share about what the role of that regional Board of Health nurse is and how they can help. So just more of an informational gathering on their end to see how they can help us. So we'll look forward to hearing what they might be able to do to support our community here. As Nisha mentioned, definitely leaning towards transferring more of the pantry over into her workload as she transitions over starting in July for the outreach focus under her assistant director role. So she mentions that, and a lot of great things coming up in our next couple of months here. So any questions on her report? She does mention the fire department for sharing their space with us when we hosted Senator Tarr last month.
Oh, I had one quick question.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I know we're doing the trivia night, the breakfast exchange later
Yes.
this month, but then Nisha has also sent out an email about interest for defending the senior trivia cup that we did that was Amesbury last year, I think, and we have the cup because we won. About doing that again in May. Do you know if there was much feedback on that or interest in that? I know I said.
So it is in our next newsletter, which will be hopefully in hand next week. So while we do hold the title, which is awesome, Salisbury has graciously offered to host it. I forget the date. Again, it will be in the newsletter.
It was May 12th, was it?
I think later in the month, I feel like that's when we have to have the RSVP deadline. So it will come out, and/or if you want to know after this meeting, more than happy to look into it. So that's open to any and everybody that would like to join. That is a free program. Again, taking place over in Salisbury. It can against the other local COA participants. So it should be fun.
Did you see that email?
I did.
Okay, good. Good. We had to defend our title.
I thought we had to host it because we were the winners.
Well, thank you, Salisbury, for
Yes, thank you,
stepping up.
Salisbury. All right, thank you, Alyssa. Sorry to interrupt.
No. So, as always, put in our charts about programming attendance. I think I put in a typo in there. So No, I did not. Sorry. So in March, we welcomed 11 new members, and then I jumped over and saw my words July. So March, we welcomed 11 new members. And then July through March, so our fiscal year starting in July through the end of March, we recorded just under 12,000 interactions, which is nice. Things have dipped down a little bit. I tried to do a little bit more deeper dive into it. Some of it's just how we classify things. It's and how it's changing how we want to classify and organize things. And part of it's just a learning curve on my part. It's also with with our executive office age and trying to align with how they're renaming things. So it's still a little bit of a learning curve, but the big picture of how many interactions, that doesn't change because that's just a big bulk number. So I think, if we're looking for consistency, that would be the number to look at there. So a little bit down, I think I'm not too concerned. I think once we have consistency with staff and how we, mostly me, make sure that I remember to log everything in there. And we did have a third person, for our team last year that helped log in those transactions, which of course we don't have for this fiscal year. Hopefully, as we get situated, we'll be able to, I expect these numbers for next fiscal year to probably be similar to fiscal year 24, just because we'll have a more concentrated, dedicated time of who's, doing what in regards to making sure that all those outreach numbers are coming in because they know they have a dedicated outreach person in there. So, yeah. As we're talking about programming, well, it's in here later, but it just seems timely. So the van, it has been out of commission 1 week from today. So last week, it's a electrical wiring issue as far as we can tell. The doors don't automatically open. You could manually do it. However, I know when we tried last time, we were successfully able to open them manually, but we couldn't keep them shut. So it is in the shop until that gets fixed. We've been calling every day for updates. We are hopeful that it will be, they gave us hope yesterday anyway when we called that it was going to be done by the afternoon today. If all goes well, we'll reschedule our Wednesday shopping that normally happens in the mornings for tomorrow morning, and we'll be sure to contact people directly for that. I know we've had 2 trips that were canceled, and again, we'll contact those people directly to reschedule, and sooner than later, hopefully. But, yeah, it's one of those things, Upcoming events, we have the Washington Hall Cultural Threads, weaving art and conversation together. So that is this program. That's taking place next Saturday, April 26th. I know there's a lot going on that week, but I do hope that people can join us. We have a lovely number of RSVPs, so please continue doing that. Would love to see some more artists join us, because I think that's why our community is coming together to meet artists of any medium and of any level. You may have seen, we had Carl Booth play a little piano the other day. Loved it, so we will have the piano there, and hopefully we can entice Carl to join us too, and any others that may want to play and join. So very much looking forward to that, and certainly our sponsor for the refreshments, Wingate Living, really appreciate it. And also next week is Earth Day programming. There's a lot going on across the town, including the COA and library collaboration. On Tuesday, the 22nd, actual Earth Day, we are having a talk right here in this room at 2 o'clock with Brian Walsh from the Mass DEP, and we'll to talk about what is recycling? Where does it go? What can be recycled? All those questions. He's really passionate about his work, so I'm looking forward to that conversation. It's all ages, so again, if you have kids that you are looking to do something with during April vacation, great opportunity to do that. And then on Thursday, the 24th, we'll be headed over to the library for a hands-on recyclable art workshop that they're taking lead on over there. So should be a really great time. And then our final dementia education series had the final of we had a series of 4 starting in January. Will take place this week or next week, next Tuesday, also April 22nd, and that's at 12 o'clock. And the topic is caregiver versus care partner, making meaningful change. And looking forward to that. We've had really great participation in the series so far, with the exception of February, because it was unbelievably cold and icy that day. And we still had 7 people, which I was surprised. So Debbie Kroner of Monarch Care Partners has been amazing. So I do hope, again, people can join us, whether they've been to any of the other classes or not. It's fine to come to a standalone class and at the very least meet Debbie and see the great work that she's doing, and potentially can offer you and answer your questions. Yeah, any questions on that programming? No? Food insecurity and pantry update. So in March, we had 89 attendees use our pantry, 1,125 pounds about. So thank you very much to those who make the pantry available by stocking us up. If anyone is interested in contributing, always more than welcome to drop off items to the food pantry. If we're not in the pantry, we're right next door in the office, and you can drop them off there. We also have our Amazon wish list if anyone wants inspiration. I would just say for canned goods, we always love canned goods. Having pull tops is a really nice thing to have if possible. It's not a must-have, just noting it's easy to open, as well as snack kind of items to help out people too would be great. Van update, we already talked about that, but we'll certainly keep you posted. Did want to share that we have a new volunteer opportunity. I know Barbara and I have discussed it in the past, that having a dedicated person on our van trips would be that point person or liaison for the participants on the trip, with the van driver, with the office. I think would be much needed and appreciated. Really with the goal of just helping them, stay safe, enjoy their time out, and know who to contact if there's any questions. So we will put that description out on our website soon. It is on Volunteer Match if anyone is so interested in looking at it there, but I'll put it out on the website as well. You don't have to do it all the time. You can pick and choose what you want. So you can take a look at our trip schedule and see where you could help. It was just really, again, you're making sure that you are that point person for all parties involved. But certainly it would include, if there was any sort of admission to or entrance fee to wherever we may be going. Certainly wouldn't have to pay transportation fee, so anything like that. Any thoughts or questions on that, more than happy to answer, but hope we can get some people in there. Any questions on that? No? Engagement update, super excited, it's coming together. If you haven't seen it yet, we do have our flyers out, and they will be going into the newsletter next week. The registration page is up and running if people want to register. We have our agenda up there, as well as I have finalized our workshops. I don't have them posted yet, but we will. So in the morning, we do have Massachusetts Senior Action. might be saying their name wrong. They're an advocacy group, a statewide advocacy group, will be joining us for what their priorities are for this year and how you can help be engaged, and/or they're open to listening to where your priorities are and learning from that as well. So that will be awesome, as well as we're having a morning workshop with professionals in the real estate, mortgage, assisted living panel to answer any questions that people may have. We'll be having Val Walker, of course, join us for our keynote speaker. And then in the afternoon, we have a couple of workshops, including the AARP on ADUs, as well as the behavioral health line for mental health will be there talking as well. So lots of great stuff, as well as many, many resource tables for people to join us. All right. Any questions or thoughts on that? No?
I guess I have one question.
Yeah.
When are you going to want people to start volunteering to help at the engagement?
I like to be there day of, or just in general to say you want to do it, because I'll take that
No,
anytime.
to be there to help.
So we're going to open up the doors at 9:30. So, potentially at 8:30 or 9 o'clock would be helpful. Yeah.
Okay, and then are you going to send out an email, or do you want us to just let you know if we can help?
You can just let me know, but perhaps I'll send out an email too.
Okay, just.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. Either way works, but I should probably send out an email too to remind people.
And have you thought, like, how many people?
Yeah, I mean, certainly open to feedback. I feel like last year, the biggest help was, having people check in, which, I do hear, and my apologies, it should have been alphabetized. It will be alphabetized this year, the list. Checking people in, and then directing our resource table partners, where to go. So those are the biggest things, and then I guess breakfast as well. Hopefully that will arrive timely.
Yes,
last year.
helping
Yeah,
pour beverages.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yes, that worked well.
Make a few changes from last year, but
Yes.
yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, yeah.
Here with you if you want.
So check in,
Got the-
breakfast.
Okay, I can do
Yeah.
check. I have I have a funeral to go to that day, so I can't
Okay.
be there, but I
Yeah.
can be there to do, until like 10.
Oh, thank
do
you.
check-in.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Do you need more than one person?
Yeah,
I'll do check-in.
okay, thank you.
Wasn't there last time?
And, just marking again that we will have the golf cart available, because we do know the Pentucket High School does have a very large parking lot, which is great to accommodate all the people, but we also know it's a long walk, so golf cart is available to help people from their cars to the doors of the venue, so. Awesome. Just wanted to, many of you were involved in the program, but just want to make note that we had a really successful Pen Pal program this year, and we had our first in-person gathering last week, and I mean, just being in the room was absolutely just a really nice environment to be in. People were genuinely happy and excited to be there. But I would also say walking in the hallways too, that warmth was felt to the other offices, and I think they really enjoyed having that level of engagement and excitement sort of extend beyond these walls. So thank you for participating in that program. If you all did that here and outside, we will be continuing the program next year. So if people are interested in being a pen pal, be sure to keep an eye out for that. It's a really great time. We hope to extend it. I know talking to a couple of the teachers casually, maybe there's another outing that we can do in addition to doing something in here. So, yeah.
It's just wonderful. It really was.
I would like to compliment the teachers and adults at Bagnell who organized it so well. The students were so well prepared, so well mannered. willing to teach us math games, and it was just so comfortable.
Yeah.
Because they were well-prepared. They were excited without being overly excited. It was fun.
It was excellent. It was a very, very good event. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so I mean, that was definitely spearheaded by Nisha and reaching out to, I know the teacher's first name was Shauna.
Mrs. Mackey.
Mrs. Mackey. Yeah, and I know there's probably more than one first grade class that would be interested if we have enough volunteers.
My grandson was so disappointed that his class didn't get to do it, because he said,
Yeah.
that's so neat. You know, when I showed him the pen pal letters
Uh-huh.
I received and everything. And I just think it gives the children a purpose for writing
Yeah.
also.
Well, that's what I heard from the teachers, is that they really
You know,
saw
like, I have to
motivation.
really- And I have to do my very best, because these are
Mm-hmm.
grandmas and grandpas that we're
Uh-huh.
referring to.
Yeah, yeah,
It was really, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and I need to be fair, it was Mrs. Mackey and Mrs. Gray, Shauna Gray, and there was another adult who's,
There was a parent in the room.
oh, okay, I
Yes,
didn't
that's-
meet
that's
that
Ol-
person.
That's
Yeah.
Ollie's mother. I don't remember the last name, Mike Penpels.
Yeah, I didn't
It
meet
was
her.
she was a chaperone for the day.
Okay,
Yeah.
but those
Yeah.
were the two
Yeah.
teachers involved.
Awesome.
And I've already spoken to people that are interested. When I told them about it, they're like, oh, I would love to do that next
Yeah,
year.
me too.
I said,
have some
well, I
friends.
said, you best go down and get on the Council of Aging's email list so that you know that it's coming.
Yeah,
Yep.
well, and I appreciate that, because that brings me, I put a note in my report, I also have it in one of my strategic goals, is, the people, including yourself as board members, that participate in our programming are our best advocates for what we do. So I think when you see something writing, we hope to make it as engaging and as enticing as possible. But to hear your stories about how you really enjoy it, I think truly makes an impact and more people wanting to join us. So thank you for sharing that.
I wonder if expanding on that idea, since it was so well received, I know they have Grandparents' Day in the classroom, and grandparents are invited in to, look at what their grandchildren are doing. That perhaps if there are some children in the classroom that don't have grandparents that live around here or have them, available and all, that perhaps we could do a program where we could be stand-in grandparents, and at least though that child would have someone in the classroom that they could show things to, and instead of being sitting there by themselves.
Or even parent days. Some parents cannot take work off of work, so those children have,
Yeah, no, so I think, talking to teachers, we definitely want to expand on it, so
because even
we'll
the
see
one
what we
little
can
boy,
do.
his pen pal was sick.
I know, we had,
Well, I already have two, but you can kind of come too, so I was like, the kids for a while. I felt kind of, sad for him.
I know, yeah,
Exactly.
it was, that individual is completely okay. We're glad that she did not come because we don't want any.
Number of people.
But yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's a lot we could do with it. So
Yeah.
I'm glad for
Love
the
that
response.
intergenerational
Yes, yes. More and more.
engagements.
Well, and upcoming with the library, that
Recycling Day,
yeah, recycling.
Yeah,
thing.
the art recycling and
That
talk.
was really good.
That was, yeah.
Yeah,
So, thank you
Great.
yeah.
for collaborating.
All right, well, thank you for that, and it sounds like there's a lot of great things going on and upcoming. Subcommittee updates. Bylaws, I know we voted on it twice, and now it's town meetings.
there, yep.
Yep, it'll be on the warrant for town meeting, and hopefully we'll go through this time.
Just gonna say, so the town meeting is Monday, the 28th of April.
Yes, at 6:30 at Bagnell School, and they need 100 voters there for a quorum, so please be sure to show up and support your town. Finance Subcommittee, was there anything to report on that? Personnel?
I try to, oh, I guess this has to do with nominating, never mind, personnel's okay.
Okay.
Saw that word.
And then nominating will, be talking about that. Well, we can talk about it now.
Let's talk about it now. I went back and any of the bylaws, published bylaws that I had to look at did not say that a board member absolutely had to be from Groveland. I could not find that anywhere. So I just wanted to, that was a question we had hanging in the air, and so far, that's the answer.
Yeah, I know, at some point, though, it must have been, because that's why Ron Mertens had to leave when he moved out. of
I am
Groveland.
wondering, did you check the town bylaw? Did you check the town bylaws? Because where it's a committee of a
Board, yeah.
a board, it might be under the town bylaws. I do not know. I forgot to check that myself, because we did
So did
discuss
I.
it last time.
Yeah, I
Thank you
forgot.
for looking. I know it's not in ours,
Is it?
in the old ones.
Well, I was looking at the Massachusetts one.
Yeah. Yeah, that,
I don't know
You
if
know
I
what?
have the, oh, here, oh, I didn't go far enough down.
town.
Let's see.
Because I know elected.
Oh,
Is it town
appointed-
bylaws?
yeah,
Yeah.
only Groveland residents shall be eligible for appointment or for service.
Yep.
Okay, there
All
it
right.
is. Sorry,
Yeah, I
that
was-
answers that.
Right, I was
All
going
right,
to say, I
now
don't
we
think it
have
was
the
one of
answer.
ours because, you know, it's already been above us, dictated down, if that makes sense. I thought it was the town. Thank you for looking, though.
All right. Well, we do have a board member who's resigning the end of June, so we have an opening, and we do have George Honor here today as an observer. So George, if you or anyone else out there is interested in serving on our board, what you need to do is write a letter to the Board of Selectmen, the Council on Aging, and you can leave it in the Council on Aging office. And then the board will discuss it, the letter will get passed on to the Board of Selectmen, and we'll go from there. So that would be what you or anyone else of interest would need to do, is to submit a letter of interest. And in that letter, if you could outline, why you're interested in being on the board, any past experience you might have on other boards, things like that, that would let us know about you. So, thank you very much for your interest in that. And anyone else out there who was interested.
Good, good.
I mentioned before the meeting officially started, I have to be done as chair July 1st, but unfortunately, on June 18th, which is our last board meeting that would have been my term, I'm going to be away. So my last meeting as chair will be next month. Just wanted to say that moving forward. All right, unless there's anything else to do with subcommittees? Budget update. I know that we received the budget information. It was already voted on by the selectmen. The piece that seems to be missing, to my mind anyways, is when I've worked for a school department, and I worked in the business office, so I was very involved with the budget. All of the department heads were called in to speak to the business manager, superintendent, present their budget, as all of our town departments have done, to the finance committee. And then, once they came up with a final budget, they then sent an email to all department heads saying, before it goes to the school committee for vote, this is our final budget. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please address them before or at the school committee meeting. That piece appears to have been missing here. We did not know that it was going to be voted on by the Board of Selectmen at that particular meeting, and it was a done deal. It's like, whoa. Well, there was a little communication piece missing there that we would have greatly appreciated knowing about.
Because it had changed. It wasn't what was submitted.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know if that happened with other departments, but in the future going forward, I'd be happy to express that. We always go to the finance board meetings to present it, and I'd certainly be willing, because even though I'm not going to be chair, I still want to be on the board to say that we would greatly appreciate, before it goes to the selectmen next time, just to know, this is what the budget is, this is what is being presented. And even if we don't have any chance to change it, at least we'll know in advance.
Yeah, I just want to echo that sentiment that it's not about the exact numbers. We all understand that things change and we work within our parameters. It's just the professional courtesy of letting people know what is being put forward. We all put in a lot of work in developing our budgets, and so just to know what's being finalized would be much appreciated as it impacts all of us.
Thank you. Friends of the Council on Aging update. We have Larry McKelney, the chair of the Friends of the Council on Aging, here with us.
Good morning, everyone. Since we last met, we had the North Shoreman concert at Bagnell School on Friday night. We raised over $1,000. We don't have a final tally in, but it just shows the broad support that the Council on Aging has in the community. People have been very generous and very supportive of the Council on Aging and of the Friends. I want to particularly thank Linda Brown and Jack Dodge, longtime residents of Groveland, who spearheaded this drive, this community concert. It was a lot of fun. I think everybody that was there had a good time. And it is billed as the first annual concert. So we are looking to continue this tradition next year. And again, thank you, Linda and Jack, for bringing that to us. It was a great night. And if you didn't go, you missed it. So come back next year. Our next upcoming event is the townwide yard sale, which I believe the last time we had the townwide yard sale was 2018, possibly. So it's been a long time coming. As of this morning, we have 20 participating households, and not only households, but the Congregational Church is opening up, having special that day, and the library is having a book sale. I have not returned the call, but Nichols Village is chiming in and wants to participate, so that is another, nice development for us. So for those of you who are not aware, the yard sale will take place on May 2nd and 3rd. We have extended the deadline for registration to next Tuesday, April 22nd. You can find there are paper copies of the registration form in the Council on Aging office and in the foyer at Town Hall. But you can also go online on our Facebook page, Friends of the Council on Aging -Groveland, Mass., and there's a link to the registration form there. For the registration, you do not have to pull the town permit. The $10 permit fee has been waived. And I have talked to Beth Cuniff, who will gather the information of where the locations are and alert the police department that there will be, these yard sales going on in town. I just want to mention, while I have Beth in mind, that I will miss her integrity in that office. She was just, has been someone that I really relied on, and by 3 years of being involved in Town Hall. So thank you, Beth, for your service. So the maps for the yard sale, there will be a link online so people can access a map, which you would then see where the yard sales are and click on the icon, the little house icon, and then it would pop up the hours, the address, and what they might have for sale. We will also have physical maps available for those who want them on the first, on the second, Friday the 2nd, and Saturday the 3rd, probably till noon time right out here in Town Hall. These maps are free, but we would also welcome donations to the food pantry if you are coming to pick up a map. We know you want to keep your cash for the yard sale, so we'll be happy to take a food pantry donation, but you don't need to have a donation to get the map. We want to get people out to the yard sales. So,
What time will you be here at town hall?
someone will be here by 8 o'clock on those 2 days. So I think that's it. Thank you again. I know that many of the people here have helped on these fundraising endeavors, but thank you all. Any questions?
I just wanted to clarify, I had the pleasure of looking at the map, so love the map feature. It does not include people's names on there, just in case anyone was curious. So it's just the address and what people are selling and the hours, but no names included. Yeah.
Right. No names, no telephone numbers, no email addresses. We try to keep everyone's privacy in mind.
Thank you very much, Larry. Is there any other business before we move on to our focus area?
Oh, sorry, just another thing on the yard sale. So if and when people do come in and if to drop off your yard sale information, Nisha and I are always happy to have those conversations. Every once in a while, as people know, we get stuck on the phone. So if you come in and we're stuck on the phone and you just want to drop off your form, you can do so. It's a little tiny black box. It says Friends of the Groveland COA. You just drop it in there. You're good to go. So just putting it out there.
On the left, as you go into the door, it's there on a table, in case you're looking.
Thank you both. All right, moving on to our focus area, strategic planning. We had a 3-hour meeting at BC Park, the end of March, where we started discussing. And now moving forward, I know Alyssa had sent out suggestions and notes on how to move forward. Unfortunately, I lost that email. I don't know how. So I don't have anything to add to that. Oh, here it is.
Is that the
No,
email?
that's different.
I have it, I think. Together.
So I just wanted to sort of name, because I think sometimes I want to make sure that we're using the terminology. We have the shared definitions of terminology used. So that was essentially, so I just put out a framework of what our plan was in regards to what is a pillar, what is an objective, what is a key result, so that we could make sure that we're working on the same things. I put together some ideas for myself. Nisha put some together ideas of hers. Again, I didn't have any conversations because I wanted it really just to be, I didn't want to put any ideas into, I wanted it to be their own genuine ideas. So Nisha put down what she put down. I haven't had the conversation with our van drivers yet, but I absolutely do. So I'll make sure to give them the worksheet as well, because I think everybody is coming through different lived experiences and looking through a different lens, and want to make sure that with the people that are actively working in this space, who are going to be implementing and be hands-on with it, that we hear everybody's ideas. And then we did note and clarify in their sort of board responsibilities, of confirming and finalizing our objectives, and then the key results and measurable outcomes are really what staff does to make those objectives come to life. And I'm just handing out my ideas and Nisha's ideas right now.
Well, this is very, very helpful. I apologize. I don't know what happened to the email. Laurel kindly brought it up, and I have the date, so I can go back and search for it, but
He's just.
I don't think we got this.
no,
Get
no,
this.
we
This
didn't
is
get
all-
that,
yeah.
but we
I
got,
was gonna say, that's.
yeah, but she mentioned that.
You can take one and pass it along.
Thank you. So I apologize for being unprepared for my part in moving forward with this, but anybody else who would like to chime in? Any thoughts, ideas to share?
I'm just interested in reading through this too first. It's just-
Yeah, I'm happy to, to read through it or answer any questions again, just sort of my perspective on, and I know we did talk about a couple of these ideas already. So people should have gotten a stapled copy of Alyssa's worksheets and then Nisha's. So 2 ideas, and then I still need to get Frank and Stephen. Are you missing one?
No, no, no.
Okay,
I put Nisha's down,
okay.
Nisa's.
Oh,
I think we probably need a little bit of time to
oh, yeah, no, absolutely,
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
digest this, because I think there's a lot of good ideas.
Yeah, so again, my thought at some point, and it wasn't a clear timeline, but for everybody, right, was gonna come up with ideas. And then, another board discussion, maybe that's another, offsite, longer conversation to pinpoint the objectives, under the pillars that we've already identified. So I don't know if we want to share the pillars that we talked about at last meeting. Yeah.
Well, my feeling after, well, I'll share the pillars, but before I go on to that,
Yeah.
I've thought about it. I haven't written things down necessarily, but I think this, getting your input and Nisha's input, you're the people who do it day to day. We know about what's going on. We're not in that office. We're not working.
Yeah, so that's why we would do the day-to-day, but
But I know it's over,
Yeah,
so, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So I think having this and giving us a chance to read this and go,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is where they're seeing it. Are we on the same page? I mean, I don't feel the board should be coming down and saying, well, this is what we want the COA to do.
yeah,
and
that's
you
why,
do it.
so it's outlined that you're not.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. So the 3 pillars, let me see, where are they? Okay, the first one is strengthen the COA's ability to meet the evolving needs of older adults in Groveland. The second, do you want me to read
Yeah.
the objectives too, or just the?
No, those were just my objectives.
Right, right, okay, that's what I was thinking. Pillar 2 is foster the COA as an open, welcoming, and safe community. And the third pillar is broaden the COA's community connections. Okay, and wow, thank you for this, really,
Yes, this is great.
yes.
And then at the very end of my packet, this could
Yes.
look different for however we want to, but just sort of how it might look public facing, sort of our messages, reminder of who we serve, and then naming our pillars, and we will.
Things we will do, touch
you know.
points, right.
And again, I just use mine as examples to fill it in.
And I love your looking ahead statement, too, that this plan is more than just a document. It's a living commitment to listen, adapt, and grow. We look forward to working with residents, families, partners, and town leaders to continue building a community where older adults are supported, celebrated, and connected. I love that statement, or statements.
you.
It's more than one.
Again, just example, but appreciate it.
No, that was the first thing. I tend to read backwards. So,
Well, thank you, Laurel. And expanding on that a little bit, if I may, if there is anyone out there in the community, whether you utilize the services and programs offered by the Council on Aging, or whether you have not yet done so, If any of these resonate with you, and if you have any thoughts, if you've read the newsletter and said, gee, I wish they did that, or if you've come to an event and said, oh, it would have been nice if this happened. I'm just going to read these one more time quickly, and if anyone out there has any thoughts, inputs, things that can help us move forward and serve you better, we would love to hear from you. The first one was strengthen the Council on Aging's ability to meet the evolving needs of older adults in Groveland. So again, if you have any thoughts that you'd like to share or things you'd like to see that would meet the needs of older adults, yourself, your family, your caregivers, we would love to hear those. The second one was foster the Council on Aging as an open, welcoming, and safe community. Hopefully, we do that. I know we already do that, but there's always room for improvement and for things that we might not be doing that you would like to see. We would love to hear that. And the third one was broaden the Council on Aging's community connections. If you're not finding out about things that we're doing, or if you find out about them afterwards from someone who attended a program, you said, gee, I didn't know about that. Why didn't I know about that? How can we help to reach you? If you don't have email, if you don't get the newsletter, if you don't see it around, how can we help to reach each and every one of you? We would love to hear those thoughts as well.
Yeah, so I would just add on that always, I hope people know, but it is worth naming, always open to feedback and comments and, be it just programming ideas or more tactical operational things. I would say that what we have here really is, goals for FY26, not necessarily a traditional strategic plan. And I say that because that strategic plan really is a little bit more in depth in having those kinds of conversations. So I just want to sort of differentiate that these are our goals, I think, for FY 2026, as opposed to a three to 5 year plan, unless, that conversation ends up taking us something different when we look at our objectives. I do think when I was looking, on my objectives and key results, that I'm hopeful that a lot of things might stem from, this comprehensive community needs assessment, which can really drive the conversations that we're talking about for feedback from the community, but not just about COA and what we do, but about, living your actual lived experience in Groveland as it is and what you want it to be. So that means everyone, sidewalks, are they walkable? Are the town, buildings accessible, and all those things, so that we can come together and from the data that we have from that survey, if we move forward with it, then we share it with the town, and hopefully it is a much broader reach than just the COA.
So I think we kind of need to talk about next steps. I would like to give ourselves a deadline, because to make sure that we have something that's actually written and publishable.
Yeah.
So what should our next steps be? I think we all need to take what we have here, review it, add if there's things that we think need to be on here, because I do think absolutely we should not be dictating the Council on Aging's day-to-day responsibilities, but I do think as the board, we do have a responsibility to be, we're not just supposed to listen, we're supposed to be the guiding structure. So I do think we need to go through it and see if there's things that we think need to be here that aren't, maybe, or things that are here that we think shouldn't be. I just think we need to sit down but we need to really give ourselves a date
Yeah.
to go through this with all of this input, our own individual input, and try and I love the framework of this, because I think this will save us a lot of time about going back and forth about how should we write it, blah, 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 but.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is that exactly, that everybody comes in with their own ideas, you know. Number one, our board is made up of older adults, you know, so you have this, you know, your perspective is absolutely not only as board members, but as community members that we're serving, absolutely. So, and again, each of us are living our lives differently, so, yeah, again, I was thinking, which is why I didn't necessarily have the conversation with Nisha directly about, I don't think there is any wrong answer. It's just generally brainstorming about what do we want to do. And then, so I think that filling out that worksheet first, then coming together to figure out after maybe we've read everybody's, and then to finalize things. And I think some things might be consolidated, or some things are a little more tactical, and we could be like, okay, you can do that, but it'll be under this.
And we also want it to be I mean, my thought is, from strategic planning I've done in the past, is that you want your goals and objectives to be attainable.
Yeah.
Not easy,
Yeah,
but attainable.
yeah,
So you might have a little bit of a mix of a stretch,
yeah.
so. we don't
Yeah,
want-
so if we're already doing something, I don't want it on there.
But we also don't want to bite off more than anyone can chew.
Yeah.
Because then it just gets frustrating. So I think we need to look at what's manageable and what's attainable as well.
And should we still be thinking in terms of a 3-year?
I mean, this,
Or-
I felt after leaving our last conversation, it was like a 1-year kind of deal.
Okay,
That was,
Yeah.
that was how I felt.
I
Yeah,
mean, I do think one of the things that we talked about a lot that day was that we really need this survey to kind of tell us what our 3 to 5 year
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
objectives need to be.
Yes.
We need a little more data,
yeah,
I think.
yes.
But I don't think these pillars are going away, though.
yeah.
The pillars, I don't think that's going to go away, you know.
Semester.
And a year from now, we're going to not say, I don't think, a year from now, we're going to say, oh, we don't need to broaden our community,
No.
you know, I don't think we're going to do that, so.
Unless, I mean, but maybe in a few years out.
Right,
Like,
5
we're
years,
solid,
maybe we have
Yeah.
connections with every other community organization in the place,
you
and,
know?
So,
Gosh.
we could almost perceive it as the beginning of a 3 to 5 year plan, you know, depending if you want to stop at 3 years or 5 years. And this is year one. These are goals that are achievable within the first year, and then we can build on them. You know, the second year, keep the same pillars. It's
Maybe, I would just say for
Something-
this
yeah.
conversation,
Oh,
like
for
it's
this,
FY,
yes, for now,
FY
but-
'26,
but
yeah.
you can call this year one of the 3-year plan. And see how it goes from there. Because once we get the feedback from the community, I mean, by the time we develop that, get it out, get our responses, we may be talking, I don't know, maybe August. I'm trying to even be, because, no, sooner, later.
I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know, it could be, I feel like that is, that would be in a very aggressive approach.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's like, that's pushing it. And then half of FY '26 is over. Just to, well, not.
Yeah, so
but,
that's
you know,
why I think it's a goal for FY '26
Develop,
to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
yes,
right.
yes. Okay, develop and send out, and then collecting that data, we go forward
Forward.
in the
Yeah,
future years.
yep.
Okay. Well, no, I'm sitting here going, well, okay, boy, we'll move, we'll be here every day.
On the phone.
And perhaps what we learn from the survey and from doing the 1-year plan, those will be teachers for us to create
Yeah.
the 3 to 5
Yeah, yeah, I think, yeah, there's like a
Longer.
foundational.
projection.
Okay. So as far as setting like a
Dates.
date, for us to do our piece,
Yep.
I think it's only fair where Nisha has done hers.
Yeah.
You have done yours, you're waiting for the van drivers.
Yeah, I haven't had that conversation yet with
Yeah,
them.
but I mean, they've done it since our meeting, which has been less than a month. I think we could all do it by our next meeting. Yes?
Yeah, well, the fiscal year '26 starts July 1st. before July 1st,
Yeah.
26th.
Right, so next
Which
meeting.
means we need to be ready to have this, we pretty much need to have this done and approved, I think, by the June 18th, is that?
Yeah, and Barbara's not going to be there.
Right, and Barbara's not going to be there, which means I think we need to, yes, by our May meeting,
Have this done.
all of us, actually, it would be, you know, what would really be ideal, but maybe not attainable? Well, no, I guess we could do it. If everyone submitted it by our May meeting, and then we put a couple of people in charge of pulling all, we can either discuss it at that May meeting, know that that May meeting may go a little bit longer, is if everyone's comfortable discussing it here.
Or another
Or we
meeting.
could do a subcommittee to take all that input after the May meeting, to actually put it into a written format.
So I wonder if maybe it's due on the May meeting, which would be the 21st of May, and then like a week or two later, we meet again?
And just have it just to go over everything?
Yeah,
Give us. the-
that way everybody could also read it, but we could still pull it, you know,
Yeah.
and synthesize, but.
So homework for next meeting,
That's
we
a-
all bring ours here
Yeah.
Or,
with copies, or whatever, or what, go ahead.
yeah, okay, that's
Or
fine. No,
send
we
them
can do it
ahead of
that way.
time, or do
We can
them a
do it
little
that-
bit ahead of
no,
time so
that's
that
fine.
you're here.
We can do it that way. Just bring it the 21st. I was thinking if everyone submitted it by the 14th, we could pull it all together, and we could see it on the 21st, and just, but that's, if people want to do a separate
Yeah,
meeting, that's
yeah.
fine.
No, I mean, that would get it
Separate meeting's
moving.
fine. It's just.
Well, then
it's
I'm like,
hard-
okay, then we have one, I bring my little thing that I've written up, and we have to copy that out, yeah, maybe do it, send an email to Deb.
I'll come, I mean, I don't mind. Just, I mean,
No,
it's just, yeah, I don't know which is.
I
better.
just need a deadline.
I know,
Just
I need a
like-
deadline too.
Yeah,
Because otherwise
Right,
it sits
so May
there,
14th, sounds
May
good?
14th,
okay.
So everyone will submit their
electronically,
form.
right?
Yeah, or if you don't do it electronically, you can give it to me and I could scan it and make it available digitally.
Okay.
Okay, so everything submitted to whom by May 14th?
You can send it to me, because where I won't be here in June, I can at least do that.
All right, so everything to Barbara by May 14th? In the format that Nisha and Alyssa filled out.
So I can resend that if you want, but yeah.
Yep,
All right,
perfect.
Okay.
and then that way we can have it, and maybe we'll be able to.
And peruse it
It's
before
just-
the
I remember
meeting.
It was very difficult to
meeting.
find our day for our Vising Park.
It was, it was, we were back and forth.
As we get into nicer weather and,
Yeah, there's so
people
much
being
going
busy.
on in May and June. I think Larry wanted to tone in on something.
I was just thinking in terms of survey, getting survey data. I wonder if it would be helpful, instead of just putting out a paper survey, which sometimes we don't get much input, is that we do interviews with
So-
people.
Yeah, I think I do have something in mind. So AARP and a few other communities have done them. So AARP has a pretty set one. So in my mind, when I'm thinking to do this, yeah, it's not a single touch point. It's we are having phone calls, we're doing it in person, we're mailing it out, we're going door to door. So many different touch points, because in my key result, I put a pretty aggressive one. You know, I said 40% response rate, so that's 800. So that means, yeah, going and making sure it's accessible in many different ways.
I should have realized that you'd have that covered. But while I have the microphone, I forgot one thing in terms of the yard sale. On April 22nd, which is the new deadline for registration, there is going to be a subcommittee meeting over at the safety building in back of the fire station. And we are going to be putting together the maps, putting together the signs, figuring out distribution of the signs. So we would like some volunteers. It is in conflict with the recycling program here, which do they both start at 2?
Yep.
So I know that people would probably want to go to that too, so maybe I will bump that 2 o'clock meeting back to 3 o'clock if the powers that be over at the fire station can accept that change. And then, we'll just break into groups. We will need, because I can't be 2 places at once. I am going to have a yard sale myself on Saturday, so I need someone at least down here on Saturday to distribute maps and collect food. So, anyhow, if anybody, and we welcome new faces. So if you decide you just this is your time to jump in and help, this would be a good time to jump in and help. It's a community yard sale, town-wide, so join in. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. All right, so we're clear on what our next steps are. Submit your ideas electronically to me by May 14th, and then we'll have those compiled for our next meeting where we can, perhaps, I like the idea of doing
And-
another meeting.
Yeah, can someone let Linda Workman know?
Sure. She has problems with emails. I'm not quite sure what the problem.
I will be seeing her Friday morning, hopefully. And if
Okay.
not, I'll see her Tuesday, if she's out here.
Do we have an
Hallway
extra
Tuesday.
set of these
Yep.
that we could give to her?
Yes, that's,
That would be great.
If you want, I mean, she said, I'll see her.
Okay.
Hopefully,
All
at
right,
meeting.
that would be good, thank you. All right, well, we've talked about a lot of things today. Do we need to talk about, also for our May meeting, is to nominating members and roles? Do we need to talk about that at all today? Not save everything for that meeting? As I said, obviously, I can no longer be chair as of July 1st, but I would like to still be on the board in some capacity. If anybody wants to do a swapsies of roles or just be a member, I'm fine with anything. Can you run can you just run the June meeting, because I won't be here?
Yes, oh,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Yes.
and can you
I have
add
that
this
written
to
down.
Linda's packet?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm going to put Linda's name on it, so I remember. Okay.
Okay, well, if there's no comments, questions, anything to decide, we can talk about that at our May meeting.
Okay, I'm sorry to drag it out. I had a question of community members. So one of our programming ideas did not make it onto the newsletter, which we had to put to print yesterday. It is a program on Juneteenth.
On what, I'm sorry?
Juneteenth,
Oh,
the
Juneteenth.
holiday. So I heard back from her right after the deadline. So I really want to do it, clearly, that's why I reached out. But I don't know if we should do it since it's not in the newsletter.
That's on the 19th.
Oh, so we wouldn't do it on the 19th, it would just be, yeah, just
All right.
about the holidays directly tied and connected to Essex County, and the roles that we had with, slavery and, yeah. So I don't know, I was just looking for general feedback, if we think we might get an audience if it's not published in the newsletter, or should we just,
Well, couldn't we do it in the robocalls?
yeah. I mean, yeah, so we can definitely still promote it, it's just not in the
I
newsletter.
think we've done things before that haven't made the newsletter.
Yeah.
And like Deb said, robocalls or just putting a pamphlet.
We'll put a flyer
on
out,
the
yeah.
countertop, Word of
Yeah.
mouth.
Okay.
What day do
Mentioning
you? think?
Yeah, she's open, yeah, so,
I mean, if it's mid,
yeah, it'll be before the 19th.
you have all of May.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking too,
half
but I
of
just
June,
wanted
whatever,
to,
to
put it-
get it out
hear
there. It's not like
feedback.
you're trying for May 1st.
yes.
You just got the newsletter.
Right, yeah.
But close to the date would give it more meaning and impact. Do you find any pattern in, on this day of the week, there's more participation in programs? Okay, just wondered.
Oh, no, but I am changing the time of the book club because that clearly doesn't seem to be working. So I changed it to 12 o'clock, more in line with our other programming. I don't know. can't be any different from what was currently going on. So it's going to be 12 o'clock on that first Monday in June. We'll see if that works. And, not everything has to work. We can, we tried it out this fiscal year, and if it's not going, then it's not going.
I will say that last week was the first robocall I got that ever mentioned yoga.
Yes.
And we had 2 new people show up for
Oh,
yoga. I have no idea if it was connected, but we
Yeah.
had 10 people.
We needed to make the call for another reason.
Right.
And so, yeah, we
Yeah.
stuck that in
But I
there.
mean, I've never seen 10 people at yoga. So,
Good.
I've got to get back on the robocall. Jane,
I don't know how you do that, but.
I don't know how I got off of it.
Somebody specifically said,
Probably my husband.
yeah. So anybody that doesn't want the robocall, people can let us know, and/or I think there might be an option when you get the robocall to say, I don't want to be on it, but you can always give us a call and say, I don't want those calls. If you do want a robocall, let us know and we'll put you on there.
Sorry.
So the Juneteenth program would be a speaker in the afternoon?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was thinking.
I just think, I don't know, I can't remember what the calendar would look like
Yeah,
that week.
I know.
So yeah, I think close to the date.
Okay, I'll work on it. Yeah, no, it was just a general feedback question, so I
should try to do
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good. We have a lot of LGBTQ plus programming in June for Pride Month, so be on the lookout for that. Yeah, both May and June are looking wonderful as always, and thank you to Irene for helping proofread.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, unless there is anything else,
I
Laurel?
just have a question.
Of course.
Because April 15th has come and gone, and where's the tent? I said, it's been raining every day. This is from 3B.
Yeah.
And we understand, and it's been cold. Who wants to go out there if we don't have to be? But we're wondering, where with all the construction, if the tent could be moved and also to a more level ground, because that's getting really cracked, and probably even more so now with the construction going down, back towards the dumpster.
Yeah, I don't know. So I am
No.
very thankful and appreciative that the town has took this on as their role and responsibilities. I did put out an email, I think about 2 weeks ago, to our town administrator and facility manager. I have not heard back yet, but I will follow up so that we can
We were
plan.
just wondering, that might be, if they could look, that might be a safer area, and it's not as trafficked, you know what I mean, in terms of cars coming and going with the library and now with the new
Yeah,
walkway down.
yeah, no, absolutely. I think long-term for me, not for a strategic goal, but yeah, that there's got to be a better tent out there, but one with less hazards. So.
But we love
we'll
it.
get-
It is nice to do it outside.
yep.
Really,
Yeah, no, it is good.
okay.
Thank you.
Just thought I'd-
I just wanted to mention very quickly, it has absolutely nothing to do with Council on Aging business, but as you know, if you remember, we had Maria Stefanos here last year for a very successful, well-achieved program. The post office has just come out with a Betty White stamp, and that stamp was designed by Maria Stefanos' husband, Dale Stefanos, who is a very well-known artist in his own right. And he is a Groveland resident, as she is. So I just wanted everyone to know that. Go down there and get your Betty White stamps. He managed to capture the twinkle in her eye, the little mischievous grin on her face. It's wonderful. So just want to make sure people,
Something about her
Kudos
earrings,
to him.
too. What
Sorry?
was about the earrings? Something, I think she.
oh, she has an earrings in for, she loved animals.
Animals, yeah, it was a paw
Animals.
print or
And so it
something
was- yeah,
that she put. he
To
put on
recognize
it.
her work on behalf of
I've seen them. It's a nice,
animals.
nice stamp,
Yeah, I
actually.
bought some, they're adorable, so I just wanted to shout out to a Groveland resident who's doing well. His design was chosen from among thousands that were submitted. So, on that note, if there is nothing else to discuss, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting at 10:50?
I make a motion?
I'll second.
All those in favor? So moved, thank you.